Welcome back to Bingo Blast 2. That's right, this is what this channel is going to be. It's going to be a bunch of hour-long essays. Video essays. I'm going to be a YouTube video essayist. It's going to be hours upon hours of slop where I just recite Wikipedia articles and I'm going to make so much money. The reason we're here today, Bingo Blast 2 viewers, is because I need to talk about Speed Racer. Okay? There is no other statement echoed in Hollywood more than that it's lost its creativity. What used to be the king of artistic expression and emotion has now become an overly commercialized and oversaturated medium. A medium that everyone only ever sees as a way to make money, instead of a way to truly inspire and elicit awe. All it seems to be now is sequels, remakes, adaptations. Okay, now this is a statement I can agree with more or less. However, sometimes you high and mighty cinephiles, disgusting name by the way, have to admit that sometimes an adaptation is fucking cool, okay? Look at the Transformers movies. Look at my chair is so squeaky. Transformers movies. I'm getting a new chair. Now the recording can really start. A statement I will definitely agree with is that Hollywood has lost its source, okay? Nothing burger of a statement I know, and it will take you like 5 seconds to name a new movie that is actually really good and stylistically charming, okay? But all I have to say to that is, look, I'm just trying to waffle out runtime, okay? I'd appreciate it if you didn't keep proving my statements wrong. Look, really, the only point I'm trying to make here is that Speed Racer, this is my point, Speed Racer is a fucking good movie, okay? I love it so much, it's amazing, okay? And here I am, you know, drifting in the limbo of the internet, merely observing, okay? So, you know, you gotta understand, if I'm going through all this effort to make this, you know, my, we'll say, my first real video, just so I could talk about this movie, then you gotta get it through your head that it is something quite special, okay? If I've learned one thing in my 17 years of being alive, it's this. Not enough people talk about this movie. In fact, it seems no one seems to know about this movie, okay? This movie was directed by the Wachowski sisters, okay? You know, the directors of The Matrix. Sure, The Matrix. The Matrix, as a lot of you know, is a pretty good movie, okay? Its sci-fi themes are cool, its action's really cool. I don't know. I can't explain to you why I like this movie. It's cool, but more importantly, okay, the film had style. The film had flair. Something that, you know, a lot of movies these days can't even say, okay? The action scenes were so full of life and adrenaline, okay? They were serial and downright cartoony? What am I saying? Make a joke about the gif of Morpheus shitting. Okay. Okay, but it worked, okay, in all the best ways. It was a hit, spawning multiple sequels that were probably bad. I haven't watched them, but that's besides the point. What I'm trying to sell you here today, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binaries, is a Matrix, you can make a computer joke there, is that if you like The Matrix, Speed Racer takes all the elements that made it good, and they, you know, they cranked it up to like a bajillion. Yeah. What is Speed Racer? It's an anime. Originally from 1967. We're not going to talk about it. We're here for the movie. I'm here to talk about the movie. The Wachowski sisters, right? They wrote and directed this movie. You know, double whammy. You know, one sister wrote it, one sister directed it. I'm kidding. It was also, apparently, you know, I'm reading this, it was also co-produced by the United States of America and Germany. Now, after I read that, I felt the need to write a little skit in the middle of it. But it's really dumb, but I'm going to try and recite it anyway. But I'm going to preface this by saying it's dumb so you can't make fun of it. Okay. Whew, I tell you, man, this movie is becoming too much to handle. My thoughts exactly, Larry, which was your name at the time. Luckily, I think I can get some help. You know a guy, Andy, which was your name at the time? Yeah, not so much a guy, I would say. A country? All 340.1 million residents of the US, and all 83 million inhabitants of the beautiful country, the Federal Republic of Germany? What are you doing here? We'll take it from here. That was the skit. The movie begins like any good movie, okay, with some logos. Looking absolutely beautiful, I must say, okay? This style that you're seeing right now is prevalent in like all aspects of the movie, and we will touch on that later, okay? When the actual movie starts, we see a guy sitting in the locker room, pacing his foot, then boom, we see a kid in class also pacing his foot. You see, this is what we call in the industry a cinematic parallel. Okay, I'm very good at my job. This little snot, okay, is doing a test, and from another technique we call show don't tell, we can see that he's struggling with the test. I'm gonna stop this now. All right, now it's plainly obvious. This is our main character. Okay, he sucks at school because he just wants to race. You know, his parents are having talks with the teacher because he's failing shit. Alright, he wasn't made for this. He wasn't made for the system. He's a hustler. Alright, now after this, the movie does something really interesting. It includes the first scene of its kind that depicts an adolescent boy experiencing the psychedelic drug effects of LSD. Oh wait, no, sorry. He's daydreaming. I forgot that in this world, the psychedelic effects of LSD is just the standard, okay? This kid wants to race. This kid just wants to race. Okay, but is that Alex Dunphy? The kid finishes his test, alright, and he speeds out of the classroom. He races out of the classroom, okay, because he's got somewhere to better be, and, okay. Now I know you're asking the question, why the hell does this movie look like that? This is the most insane shot in all of cinema. You know, this is the kind of shot that you see, and it's either like, this is, as soon as you get into the movie, and this is, for many people, this is either the greatest thing you've ever seen, or for most other people, the worst thing you've ever seen. So, you know, we should probably get into it, okay? The reason I'm saying this movie is the last of its kind. It's not the last of its kind. It was the first and last of its kind. It's the only of its kind, okay? This is one of the most insane visual styles a movie could ever have. And honestly, I love it for that, okay? And that's because the Wachowskis wanted to make a movie in the avant-garde aesthetic, okay? Avant-garde... We're getting into some art history here. Avant-garde meaning an experimental and innovative art that challenges artistic conventions and pre-established norms, often pushing boundaries and exploring new ideas. Amazing. Vis-a-vis basically postmodernism. And we got this little chart here. It says, so you guys get it. So you got pre-modern because God put it there, and that's the way it's always been. Modern, onwards and upwards, inevitable progress. Postmodern, as you can see, postmodern is the crazy one. It's the crazy one. It's an ironic take on art, if you want to say that. Looking at the conventions that have been prevalent since the beginning of time, and doing just saying like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. You know, I'm not the boss of me. I drew a woe soy. Now, making a movie that uses the same art movement as a urinal someone just stole and signed that is now worth $2 million and a Jesus covered in piss adequately named Piss Christ is quite a crazy thing to do, okay? So crazy, you might say. The studio executives would be quite skeptical that this would make a good movie. It wasn't a good movie. That's not the point, okay? So, okay, we got a quote here from the executives. Oh my god, are you insane? What are you doing? This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And the Wachowskis were like, yeah, that's the reason we're making it. That is so based and red-pilled. Like I said before, the Wachowskis were very good at making movies that perhaps disregarded rules of logic and physics in pursuit of coolness and style. You know, which I think we should be doing more often, because that's awesome. I think that's what they were good at. I've literally only watched Speed Racer and The Matrix. Those are the only two movies I've seen. But, you know, they're their best. Here's a direct quote from Lana. Okay, we are going to assault every single modern aesthetic with this film. Hell yeah. Other things of note with this movie, it was shot entirely on green screen, which is actually insane. And also, I don't think that's true. There are some shots that it's like, I don't know. Well, maybe it's like there's always a green screen there somewhere, you know? Like maybe they had sets and there was always a green screen in the background, which makes sense. I mean, you can just tell from looking at it, most of the stuff is not real. I mean, I thought this grass bit was real. Maybe it's not. Maybe there's green screen somewhere. This was done, apparently, to achieve a real-life anime look, with another technique that involved layering the background and foreground to make everything in focus. Which is like, it's true, but also not true sometimes. So I don't know. I don't really know. I'm just the research guy. Don't shoot me. I'm just the messenger. All these design choices, firing on all cylinders, led to an absolutely insane looking film. One of the most unique for the time, and unique right now. I will say though, the style of these also remind me a lot of the films by Baz Luhrmann, and you know I love me some Baz. Okay, so the movie. The movie, right, follows this young and scrappy racer to be. Our first introduction with him, he's too busy daydreaming about racing to pay attention to his studies, okay? I'm sure this kid is going places. What would you say his name was again?
There's a Speed Racer.
Speed Racer? Speed Racer's his name? That's his name. So the guy's name is Speed Racer. Last name Racer, first name Speed. This movie might actually be terrible. So Speed Racer, could you believe it, wants to be the best racer in town, just like his brother Rex, even after he fucking died during a race, okay? But that doesn't stop my boy Speed, not even after a bomb gets fucking sent to— what the heck? What? A bomb? He's getting a bomb sent to his house? Why? All you gotta know is he's climbing up the ranks and becoming one of the best racers around. So amazing, in fact, he's attracting some eyes, such as the ones of Arnold Royalton, CEO of Royalton Industries. His name's amazing. He offers Speed the opportunity to drive for him, and he gets to live a lavish lifestyle. He gets to race. You know, it's amazing. He's shown around the absolute magnificent coterie of the Royalton Enterprise, but he turns it down for the very noble reason of his dad doesn't want him to. Because he doesn't trust corporations. Now, okay, despite watching this movie several times and going back through the plot on Wikipedia, I have to say, things get very messy plot-wise because I don't really understand what's happening. But if you do, I will be very impressed. Basically, right, loads of corporations have fixed the races so they're won in their favor, including the royal fuck, okay? He gets a car to crash into Speed Racer, and then he sues his ass, alright? Jesus. And this means Speed Racer can't qualify for the Grand Prix. Oh my god! Now, here in the Wikipedia, it literally okay, so I'm reading this right now. It literally says he can retaliate through the Inspector Detector, which is a real guy. I did not remember who's naming these people. I don't know. He comes into the house with this weird X guy who's called Racer X, I think. Kind of sounds like Racer Rex, his brother that died. I don't know. I'm sure that's not. That has nothing to do with each other. It's a coincidence. And he's all like, "Hey, it's me, the Inspector Testicular. If you want to win, you gotta race in the Grand Prix and win, and then we'll like get loads of money. Then we can countersue Royalton Arnold and win." And like because the price of the stock goes up, so then he can't. So then the buyout won't happen. Yeah, it's a pretty watertight plan, but Speed's all like, we didn't qualify, idiot. How are we gonna get in? But he didn't qualify for road racing, the testicular inspector says. This is rally racing, you gotta do rally racing. And then Sully's all like, no, you can't. The dad, you can't, he's too dangerous. And then they never qualify and they get sued into oblivion. And that's the end of the movie. Oh wait, no. Oh, sorry, I got confused. Speed Racer learns that actually he can make a decision of his own, you know, and not just do whatever his dad says. So he bloody does it. Okay. Now here's where things get silly. I mean, they've already been silly, but Speed Racer says to Racer X after they do the races and then they team up, because they got to team up, and then they kill a bunch of ninjas that were sent to assassinate him. Ninjas got sent to his house. Anyway, Speed Racer thinks that Racer X is actually his dead brother Rex. Wait, what? You think it's Rex? You know? And then Racer X is like, don't be crazy. I ain't your brother. That's it. Anyway, so there was actually 3 of them on the team. I can't remember this guy's name, but I'm showing you on screen. And he's the guy on their team. And he ends up actually betraying Speed and only using him to win. And they don't defeat the Royalton guy because they team up, I think. And he's like, I just wanted to win so I could get bought by the Royalton. So I don't know. So because of that, Speed can only do one thing. He goes to Racer X and he's like, that's it. You have to be my brother after all this. And he takes off his mask and he's like, oh yeah, no, that's not the same. That's not the same guy. Psh, you kidding me? It's not like he went through fucking facial reconstruction surgery just to make him not look like his brother. He wouldn't do that. Speed Racer goes home and cries, and then the guy who betrayed him, his sister shows up, okay, and she's got a Grand Prix ticket. I can't remember why. I think it's because his brother got offered one, and then he didn't take it. So he's got the ticket, and she's all like, "You gotta win this thing. My brother's a bad guy, but I'm a good guy. I'm a good gal." And then he does, and then he wins the thing, and then he wins, and he does the day is saved. Okay, I'm kind of glossing over the final scene. I've kind of glossed over every single race scene. I don't really know how to articulate them, but all I will say is that they're bloody amazing. You know, I mean, if you just take glimpses of them, if you just search up on YouTube if you just search up Speed Racer, then you find the scene of the final race. It's just freaking crazy. It's amazing. I mean, it's kind of bad, but it's also just kind of good. It's just one of those scenes where you're like, yeah. So then after that we find out that Racer X is Racer. Oh, he did go through facial reconstruction surgery. Doi, that's a cool plot. That's so cool. This has bumped the movie up. What a cool twist. We found out that he actually is his brother. He didn't die. He's changing his identity for no. Yes. Yes. That was the movie. Pretty cool, huh? What? You're confused? Yeah. No. That may be the fault of the movie. May also be the fault of me not explaining very well. Sorry guys. You'd think after all this experience, with freaking making video essays, I'd be a master by now. But I'm not. The main takeaway from this is that it's a very silly movie, okay? So, Binker Blast 2, why do you love it so much? Well, when I watched this as a kid, I didn't know that the story sucked. I was 8. I was like 8. I really only watched it for, I only watched it for the spectacle. Okay, the spectacle. This is where I can start complimenting the movie, okay? One massive credit I can give this movie is that its action scenes are fucking insane, okay? It is very clear to see the Wachowski sisters have not lost their source, okay? They're so cool and so wacky in all the best ways. Just like some of the most craziest shit happens, there's a bit where where their tires come out and someone comes out of their rim and it's a sword and one of it is a shield and they like duke it out. There's a bit where this guy like lets his fucking car balls hang loose and he starts jumping around and start whacking them and all the cars just start jumping and shit. Someone gets fucking cummed on with fucking green goo. I'm swearing too much, but the point is it's so creative. This is like what I wish Formula 1 was, but it's just a bunch of rich people going around, and it's like, come on, this should be what racing, if this was racing in real life, this would be insane, where you just get all this wacky stuff. It's literally like Mario Kart, but honestly kind of a bit cooler, because like it's just awesome. They got so many cool things. Someone gets like a honey bee trap contraption and is like gonna throw it at the person. It's awesome. Okay, sure, sometimes they look like a pre-rendered cutscene for a PS2 game, and other times an in-engine cutscene for a PS2 game. Okay, but they are so goddamn good. Okay, the bit where Speed drives at the end and the track turns into like paint, dude, that is so sick. Okay, and I know we're all so tired of sequels and remakes. Okay, but since they're happening anyway, I believe there is no movie more deserving of a remake, okay, than Speed Racer. The biggest thing that was holding this movie back, okay, was just the time it was made in, okay? It was way too underappreciated for the time, and also they didn't have the same kind of special effects. Special effects hadn't come as far as it did, and they really, it makes the movie look really ugly sometimes, and I'm just saying, with a good budget, we should give the directors another shot. So yeah, Hollywood. That's all I gotta say. What are you gonna do about it, Hollywood? Huh? Yeah, that's right. In short, okay, this movie... Hold on. I should probably talk about the monkey! Alright, so if you go to the Wikipedia page for Speed Racer and scroll down, you'll find this little category named Animal Cruelty Incident. So, I've really glossed over this fact, but there's a monkey in this movie, and he's called Chim Chim, Chim Chim Racer, I guess. Chimpanzee Chim Chim Racer. And him and Speed's younger brother act as kind of like the comic relief of the film, in between all the cool scenes and the terrible story. You got like this kid and the monkey, and they're just doing stupid shit, like the bit with their ninjas. I don't know what the hell is going on. Okay, they get up to all kinds of wacky shenanidoodles in the film. But what you might not know, is that behind the scenes, things weren't so funny. Apparently it was reported that the monkeys on set, they had like multiple monkeys on set to play the same monkey. They were apparently beat up after biting a kid, with other reports saying the trainer just hit the monkey for no reason. Maybe there was a reason. At that point, he hadn't bit a kid and he just got hit. And also all the piranhas. These are real piranhas. I didn't know this. These were real piranhas. And also all 5 of them just died of unexplained causes. But guys, come on. Surely you gotta break a few eggs to make the best movie ever. I'm kidding, of course. Bingo Blast 2 does not condone animal cruelty. Very sad to see your favorite movie might be washed. The release! It was the spring of 2008. The movie had released. And it bombed, okay? What? No! How? Why? Why did it bomb? 42% on Rotten Tomatoes. With someone saying overloaded with headache-inducing special effects. Okay. Speed Racer finds the Wachowskis focused on visual thrills at the expense of a coherent storyline. Which, like, yeah, that's true. Another review at the time said, "We got hype moments and aura." That was from 2008? Really? Huh. Proudly denies entry into its ultra-white... Ultra-white? Proudly denies entry into its ultra-bright world to all but gamers, fanboys, and anime enthusiasts. Okay, I'm done reading reviews. This sucks. Look, here's the thing, Bingo Blast 2 viewers, okay? Did I make you watch this video so I could tell you what others thought about this movie? No! Okay, it's to tell you what I think, okay? And I think this movie is amazing. Sure, its story is whack. Speed's dead brother going through facial reconstruction surgery, so his loving family who loves him dearly never find out he's alive for no reason, is insane. But like this Will Smith meme perfectly encapsulates, it's all about hype moments and aura, okay? Which I know a lot of people don't like, you know, but sometimes you just gotta admit, hype moments and aura is cool, okay? You know, and as a guy who wants to get more involved with, like, you know, creating movies and other media, Get Fatter Now, guys, I would never intentionally cheap out on a story and only focus on style over substance, okay? But I'm not going to sit on some high horse and say that sometimes that shit doesn't look cool, okay? So despite me spoiling the movie, I still think everyone should watch it, especially with friends, and preferably blaze out of your mind. Fuck it, no, I want to know what it's like. I want to know what it's like if you take intense psychedelics, okay, and watch this movie. Tell me in the comments below. Bingo Blast 2 is officially endorsing recreational use of hard drugs. Upon rewatch, compared to when I was a kid, I'm able to see the rough sides of it much more, and realize that this movie kind of sucks. However, I have a newfound appreciation for all the good bits, you know, since I have a much better eye. I have like a better eye that goes into the effort that goes into, like, you know, directing a movie, making a movie, you know, compared to when I was like fucking 8. I kind of respect it more and less at the same time. But I think one thing remains true. Speed Racer is the dumbest name I have ever heard. So please subscribe, guys, please. I don't know if this video is going to do well, because this is like my first real video. I've got like no subscribers, no views. But that's fine. If it's really that good, then the algorithm will do its thing, you know? But if it doesn't do well, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Alright, that's it. That's my closing statement. I'm finishing the recording.